life's not as simplistic as that, and it's not stacked like that. And some people, things they do is because they ain't got no choice. Others do it for financial reasons. Others do it because of peer pressure. Others do it because they're just nasty guys. Yeah, it could be any kind of reason. Some might have mental health issues, anything. Yeah. So obviously, if you are a victim and you've been shot or whatever, yeah, it's a terrible thing. And I know people have been shot and they never told me it was nice. You understand? So I wouldn't wish that on no one directly. But as I said, everybody's scenario is directly different from everybody else's. Every unique individual, every situation is unique.
So have you yourself ever been shot or stabbed?
I've been shot at and stabbed. And basically, none of them are nice experiences.
Should we be respecting somebody who's a gun or a knife man, or should we be respecting the person who has to build their life after being shot or stabbed? Someone who's got to walk around with a bag on their chest, or 16 stitches across their leg and can't walk or breathe, or they've got something wrong with their kidney or their liver because of a gunshot wound. Should we respect that person who's had to rebuild their life, or the man who's running around putting bullets in them? Trip down memory lane will never give you back all the years you sat in that cage, but it will have you wondering why, with all the cameras out on the road, any young youth would try it when you couldn't escape the feds or the cage, when there weren't any cameras anywhere. So give us some of the memories. What sort of memories do you get when you're walking through Brixton?
You know what it is, yeah? Brixton's changed so much since when I was about. It's like a cosmopolitan area.
Yeah.
A lot of well-to-do white citizens have bought over, bought in and bought out.
Yeah.
And they've got seeming like the master state hold in the community where it matters, and that is with property, land and mortar. So therefore that's had a big impact, and you can notice that as soon as you come into the place. There's certain enclaves in Brixton now where if you go in there you won't see a black face, because it's only there catering for middle and upper class Caucasians and their own whims, and it's nothing to do with the community who's been there all the time. And those people are pushed out slowly because they don't own anything. They don't own nothing. They don't own the flats what they live in. They haven't tried to buy it. They haven't tried to do anything to enhance themselves, to get their feet under the table so that they could not be kicked out. Around there, the only thing what's changed is for the worse, nothing for the better. More gun police, more negativity.
But what about the impact violence you had on these streets? You helped towards a lot of that.
Yeah, I played a small part, yeah. But if it wasn't me, it would have been someone else. Life evolved and roads evolved, and it evolved one way. People get worse every day, more violent, and the next generation more than the other, than the other, than the other.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, if it wasn't me, it would be somebody else. you're blind to certain things, so you won't know. And that's how you get caught up in the trap. And that's how you end up holding 25 years. When you could have been sitting back with your family, making money and living your life and making people happy. This is an emotional time, and this is an emotional place. This is where all of that madness happened, right here on this road. And standing there now after all these years, it's emotional. And all I can say is, please don't make it be you, because you might not end up in a situation where you're free and alive and in a position to write a book to help people or do anything positive. You understand? You might not be so lucky, very unlikely. And as far as from here on, I'm not a saint or some angel. I'm just a guy who's trying to do good by himself and people what love him and people what I love. So all round, I'm trying to do good and survive out here. All round here was totally different from now. There were no cameras. This was a notorious road. Serious strip. Coke, crack, everything's getting sold.
What does Skeema know about crack? Because it's been made for us all out here to believe that the gangster of your generation were all running around on crack.
That's all bollocks, yes. I know people what has never smoked even a cigarette in their life and they're gangster or in that box, yeah. Everyone to their own, but in the 80s, a lot of people, there was a crack epidemic and a lot of people did fall for it. Me personally, I used to smoke it occasionally in a spliff, just like mixed with weed when I was over here and in Jamaica, but it wasn't a big part of my life. Some people, it sucked them up and threw them out at the other end, so it did have a big impact, but everybody wasn't on it. That's just ridiculous. Their live wire, people doing street robberies, one bag of mayhem along with strip hair. Japes is everywhere, yeah? The cab office used to be over there, and that was a notorious cab office as well. They'll take you anywhere for any price. And then when you go down there now, you're talking about the Atlantic pub. This is a pub where people used to just hang out and sell drugs and drink, and it's like a spot where everybody just jams. You get me? And for a long time, the boy then wanted to get it closed. Enough time you see man get grabbed by their neck outside this pub and strangle and choke out until they have to spit out whatever they got in their mouth. This was the environment. And now look at this now. This is what's going on. They're selling everything for how much, taking pretty pictures, cleaning up the place and putting millions beside the fucking place where obviously no underprivileged black person can't afford to have it. So they're pricing you out of your own shit, yeah? This is what's going on. And you're talking about postcodes and all this nonsense what ain't got no relevance to nothing. Because you kill a man through a postcode, that ain't gonna help you. This was the pub. On the night when all this happened, it's this pub where I came to see a friend who's now deceased, R.I.P. my brother. Yeah, and when I come out, these officers decided that they want to search me because I'm black and I'm coming out of a pub was, in all fairness, notorious, and that's how it all went down.
So what do you say to every person who says, forget that? You deserved every second, every minute, every hour, every month and every year you done in prison.
This is what I say, yeah? Hear me good. This isn't about me. My life's done already. I'm pushing on the wrong side of 40, innit? I haven't got no issues. I'm cool, innit? I've done lived my life already. It's about you, brother. Any little man who's in his 20s and who's struggling and coming up, That's the one what I'm interested in. You understand? It's about you, because your life's in front of you and you've got it all to come. So I don't want you to go dispersal. I don't want you to feel unnecessary pain. I want you to drive Porsche and drive Ferrari and make your family feel good and live like how them Caucasians live. I want you to have things. So I want you to do it the right way round, innit? So then no one can't lock you up and deal with you like no animal. That time it's teeth, they teeth the money to do that to you. Wise, brother, wise. My name's Leroy Smith and I'm the author of Out of the Box. It's a true life story, and after serving my 25 years I decided to myself that I need to do something back for society, or young males, black males as a whole, and the best thing what I could do was write a book which people can glean sense and wisdom from, and hope you like it.
Every roadman, every gangster, every drug dealer have all got a story. How do we know that yours is 100% fact and not embellished like many of theirs?
I'm not a vain guy with some big ego, and I don't need to make up stories because I'm not a fantasist. So true, I'm living in real time. Everybody what knows me knows my story, and they can cross-check my book with my story. Man's ringing me from Manchester all over endorsing my book because they know that it's sincere and thorough.
So can we really believe that Leroy Smith, aka Skeema, is out here to help the youths, or is he just out here to sell his book? Because right now so many name-known roadmen come out of doing big terms in jail. They tell us that they're here for the youths and to help the community, and yet the people that live in their community know all they're trying to do is continuously get paid off of the community that they're supposed to be helping.
I agree with that, and I've seen examples of that, and it's disgusting. But all I can say for sure is this: I am not down with none of that. Yeah, I put my thing together for my own self. I've done my own hard work, written my own book. So whatever I get from it is mine. That's just like the land, the law of the land. Yeah, I'm no different from the next man. But what I will say to you is, time will tell, and I will put my money where my mouth is, and I will actively do things what better people are close to my heart. Yeah, and that's underprivileged people as a rule and as a whole, and I can't say no more than that.
Well, there's no beating around the bush. At the end of the day, when you was out here on the roads, you was a menace. Your name was well known and there was a lot of people shook of you. So how do we know you're a changed man?
I got nothing to lie, brother. I ain't got no reason to lie. I ain't got no reason to sell you a dream or tell you anything that's not true. And just for that ring of truth, you should open your ears and try to listen, because if not, you're gonna find out the hard way, and it's as simple as that.
Tell us why anyone should read your book, Out of the Box.
See what it is? Because of my life experiences and all of the things I've been through, pain, suffering and real drama, it can relate to a lot of people. What maybe they haven't been to that extreme, but they've felt the same kind of pain, or the same government narratives what have been inflicted on black people as a whole and underprivileged people affects them also. They can relate to it, and there's heart-wrenching, true story which hopefully can inspire and uplift people and make them better for their own good and for the future.
So give us what's going to be in the book. Tell us the journey of the book so we can get excited about what we got.
Basically, Out of the Box is a true account of my life story from the age of 2. And what I've done, I've kept a line in the middle and just kept it moving flawlessly throughout time, right to the end, adding in all the parts what's relevant to a young person and what can enhance and help him. So what I've done, I've spoke about my own life, I spoke about prison, I spoke about deen and religion, politics, everything, all in the right chronological order of my life. And I've also shown you ways to stop yourself from getting a life sentence for no reason when caught up in the net, which you will get caught up in if you don't listen. And I've also shown you ways to enhance yourself without getting caught up in the net or going down that road. So in other words, I've gave you lots of different choices and lots of different ways of understanding and navigating, and left you, the reader, to choose.
Let's talk about what you know and he's done. The roads, guns, drugs, money. Now let's talk about what he's done and you don't want to know. 67 years concurrent, sentenced to a cage. No more roads, guns, drugs, money. And no more freedom for another roadman who walked around with his favourite gun. Some people are playing games and some have really played the game. Them ones are sitting in a cage or laying in a grave. You really need to start thinking out of the box. The DARDEST TV, in association with Block 5 Entertainment, out here for some hard work entertainment. Before there was an Untouchables, a 28s, a PDC and an Old Tray, there was Skeema running around these blocks with his favourite gun. If you don't know the face, know the name or know the story, that's because when he was sentenced he was given 67 years concurrent by the judge. But he's back now and he's got a message for all them young gun and knife men that never heard when Metropolitan Police said that they've got the biggest gang. What does 25 years in a cage do to you mentally?
Right, it was 20 years I did exactly out of 25, and it's a soul destroying scenario and experience, and I wouldn't even wish it on my enemy. If my enemy was in front of me and they said, can he go to prison for 25 years, I would say no. It's that bad. Death would be better than that place for 25 years or for 20 years. It's a soul destroying place and it will just kill you slowly. Every day it will just kill you. No sex, no freedom, no liberty, all your integrity, everything gone. Some little fools, excuse my words, can just have you up, bang the door in your face, press the bell, more screws come and bend you up. Bare violation from morning, noon and night. And at the end of the day, it just keeps going on and on. New people come in, everyone's fighting each other, stabbing each other, submitting to other people's will. It's a messy situation.
What we want to know is, why was you sitting in that jail? What was you sentenced with?
I got sentenced to 25 years, 67 in total, meaning 25, 18, 14, 5 and 2, but they run it concurrent, so the highest number stands, which is 25 years. So out of 25, I did 17 years, 3 months, and yeah, that's
So
it.
what was the reason they put you in jail?
For shooting 2 police and armed robberies, firearms, variety of offences, all around making money with a gun. And basically it all came to an end when I got arrested in Connecticut.
What are you sorry for? Are you sorry for the fact you lost so much of your life? Or are you sorry for the things you've done that made you have to sit in that jail cell?
I don't really do sorry, but I regret a lot of my actions because they didn't really make sense for me or the people around me. And that's just down to ego and ignorance and hostile and aggression. And that's what I've learned to conquer and overcome. And that's what I want the young guys and the guys who ain't soiled up yet, who's their things clean still, to try and overstand. And I think they do anyway in general, because nowadays now people ain't glorifying gangsterism.
What went through your mind when you knew you was going to be sitting in a cage for that long?
To tell the truth, I was an angry guy. So when the police was smiling at me, I was like this with my trigger finger and acting up and telling the judge that he's gonna die soon as well and being negative. It didn't even kick in for about 3-4 years, but when it did kick in, I felt it.
What is the most important thing that you lost by sitting in a cage for 25 years?
Time. Time. You can't buy time and you can't make up for time, and once it's gone, it's gone. And memories, everything. To be in a cage is a very serious thing. It's not no kind of joke, and especially when you're gonna be in there for decades. That's on a whole different level, and you might not survive it.
Do you feel like you deserved the 25 years you were sentenced to in jail? Or do you feel like you should have been left on the roads to run riot? Because who knows where that would have ended up. You could have been in a grave, or someone else would.
I could have been a millionaire, or more likely I could have been dead. But no one, law and order is needed, innit, for society to be a society. So obviously, I don't think I should have been running around committing carnage. I just think maybe it was a bit stiff, the sentence, but I did need a sentence, and I'm just glad that God seen it fit for me to come back out and be free, mashallah. So at least I've got an opportunity to do back good and make the most of the future.
So tell us how you're going to change the mind of a young youth who's out here right now and is saying to himself, forget your story, your little 20-year-old story, I'm on the road now.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything to a man like that, because he started on the wrong page. You learn from other people's mistakes, and the smartest person on earth will tell you that that's correct. I ain't here to suffer fools or try and convince people what are not willing to be convinced. I'm here to put it out there, and for anybody what's smart, yeah, or who's open to bettering themselves in the future, to grab inspiration from it and better themselves. That's it.
Do you regret in any way that there might be young youths out there that was looking up to you and trying to follow what you was?
Yeah, I sold a dream what someone else sold me, and I didn't know no better, and maybe the person that sold it to me didn't know no better. But now that I do, it's up to me to say something or do something to offset all the negativity if I can, and try my hardest to do it for the right reasons.
So on this journey what you're taking now to show the youths that it's all not worth it, how are you going to show them that not everything's what they see on the internet? Because what it is real bad men go to jail. Yeah. Real gunmen, the police ain't playing that game. So when they're watching the internet and people are getting away with talking a whole load of crud and they're still out there on the road, they believe that it's all good.
Let me clear it up for you, yeah? As a rule, hip-hop music and all the other things what draw people out and make them feel things is a virtual reality when it's not reality, yeah? And reality is totally different. If you let that all trip you up, that's gonna be your own downfall, innit? And anyone was out here and was out here for over long, keeping up bare dirt and nothing ain't happening to them, they're working with the boy them, innit? That's what I'm making you know. So you see, if you can't pick sense out of nonsense, you're just gonna get caught up and end up in the gutter there. You understand? And you're gonna be a has-been in a past tense, or even worse, dead or in jail. And that's not gonna be a good look for you, innit?
How can they listen to you when you done 17 years in a box and then you came out and you ended up going back again?
Well, because of those reasons, that's why you could listen to me, because now I own my own publishing company. I liaise with the Guardian newspaper and TV media, yeah, on a level what they wouldn't entertain if I hadn't wrote the book and if I hadn't done all the positive things I've done. So therefore, I'm a real person, I'm just a human being, everybody makes mistakes. And from it, I can tell a next man X, Y, Z, so they don't make the same mistake.
Tell us before you trust me to Leroy. Actually, my mum throw it on the floor as much time.
Yeah, that's what my mum said. It's one of those for the years, right? And then I've got an
Right, I'm reading one page.
Oh, come on.
That's fine.
Alright.
It's your book. Come
My
on.
trial for the crimes that I got convicted for
Speak up.
with sentences which added up to 67 years in total, but running concurrently, which means side by side, I ended up with 25 years. There was very little evidence involved in my case, and back in 1995, 1996, the law was totally different to now, meaning back then you had 50-50 chance of getting a not guilty if you were innocent. Now it is stacked against you in a way which is unbelievably weighted towards the side of the prosecution. So there I was with the co-defendant who had decided that he was going to inform me to the police. Because of this, he got put in a lower security prison. However, on the day of the actual trial, he was in the court cell with me, in the same cell. There were a few good IRA guys who were on trial at the Old Bailey at the same time. And basically the commander of the three told my co-D in no uncertain times that he was a proven rat, and they had seen it for themselves in black and white. And he then rang the alarm bell, and the officers took him out of the cell. The way they managed to get the trial together against me and secure the conviction was by saying that same gun was used in all 5 offences that I was charged with, and if it was the same gun, it must be the same gunman. Bollocks. But this was total nonsense, because all the crimes were in different places, in different times. They had different descriptions of different people who had supposedly committed them. So if I had had 5 individual trials for 5 offences, I am positive I would have been found not guilty, but they decided to put all 5 offences together. The attempted murder of the 2 police officers, possession of firearms, which to this day have never been shown to any court, armed robbery of a Jewish, escape from prison custody, another shooting of a person who was in the wrong place at the wrong time. They then said that due to the fact that it was the same gun which they did not even have, they were going to try everything together. I had a QC by the name of Lawrence Gershon. He was competent, but now when I look back at it, I suppose he probably thought in the back of his mind, and rightly so, that I needed to be in prison. Therefore, he tried without trying.
I like that.
What did 20 years sitting in a cage teach you? What was the most important thing you learned in them years?
What I learned is that the world runs a certain way. If you go against the grain, you're going to come unstuck. In the Western world, whether you like it or not, because of slavery and all different kinds of other politics, white males are in all of the power play positions in all institutions and all relevant corporations and things what will influence and touch your life, or what you need to make your life comfortable. And for you to get a foot in the door, it has to be under their terms, or in a way what is sociably acceptable, or is your hands dead in the long run. You could be a caveman, have a 1 gun and come out at night like you're a vampire or something, but basically in the real world, if you ain't got money in the bank and a credit card and all the other stuff, you ain't gonna fit in. And every little thing that we've got is nothing in the real world, like a Rolex or a gold chain or some rubbish, a rental is nothing. Real people got houses, they got things. They start with a house and then they move on to a nice car and other stuff. Man in the hood will just buy a nice car, and even the car's not even paid for, and they're stunting like they're on top of the world. Yeah, this is the ridiculous behavior what goes on in the hood. It's all upside down, and nothing will make me feel better than to make it stop or see it slow down or see it reverse, because it's a joke. And then the top man then was shot in food, they know the truth, but they're happy for next man's child to go prison for them, but while they stay on road in hotels and fly here and fly there and play like their shit don't stink, yeah. And then the other person, they're just selling them a dream what they're never gonna have. So I'm making you know it's a myth, and you need to find a new formula.
Right now, every hood, everywhere has got a young man who's trying to live the life you lived, trying to be as bad or even thinks he's badder. What would your biggest, importantest message for them be?
Basically, you're buying into a dream. What the law of averages and percentage of people what can succeed like that is slim. So it's not rocket science to say that it's unlikely you're going to make it. And even if you do, unless you're working with Scotland Yard or you're some guy with some other kind of agendas or funny links, you're not going to last more than 5 years. It's impossible, because you're known, police are going to know you too. And if you're known and police know you too, and you're keeping up bare action, you must go to jail.
Certain people that want to know how the book started, the life journey. So what made Skeema what he was as a young boy? What was you seeing out here?
You know what? It's just a cycle and a sequence of events. Some people, they're born in situations where unfortunately things are more likely to happen to them than other people. So you might have a single parent, or you might witness some bad things when you're young, someone dies or whatever, and then you might not go to school, and before you know it, you're spiraling on a track what just leads to nowhere.
So what do you feel in your heart when you see and hear all the things that are going on with young youths now in the streets of London after what you went through as a youth, doing things you was on?
See, true, I know every little thing that gets played out here on the streets, yeah, some fat, obnoxious Caucasian what got his money from nasty, disgusting practices is behind it, and the powers what be who really pull the strings are looking and laughing at underprivileged people. My heart goes out to that underprivileged person, because I know it's mostly ignorance why that's happening, and ignorance is bliss, because you don't know nothing, so you just do anything. And you need to look into yourself and uplift yourself and understand who is your enemy, because your little brother down the road could never be your enemy. Do you understand? Could never be your enemy.
What do you think turned you to the lifestyle that you became known for?
To be honest, all of the people that was older than me, they all had things because they were robbers and because they was out there stealing. So basically, I never used to go to school from about 13, and after that, you're gonna just be watching what's around you, and everybody who's got something is that way inclined. It's gonna lead you to end up that way inclined. And that's what happened with me.
So what's your opinion now, after all the time you served in jail, on road money, drug money, blood money?
You know what it is, real talk, yeah? Everyone needs money to survive, innit? So I'm not gonna get at no one to try to survive, because we all have to survive. What it is when you're in Rome, do what the Romans do. So you've got to rearrange yourself, look at the rules, look at how things are, and apply yourself to that scenario. If you can just do things the easy way, do it the easy way. And if you could do it with a lesser bird, do it with a lesser bird. Gun, extreme violence, them things are in the no-no box, because that's where you get a life sentence, no two ways about it. They will just shut you down. And for what you're getting, 9 times out of 10, it's not worth it. You can go and get money more easier, just selling weed or from fraud or from all of the different non-violent ways what can get you what you wanted, and you didn't have to be that guy, because that ain't even the one right now. If you're that guy, you can't go to certain places and come in a room and say, I'm that guy, yeah, I'm about this and I'm about that, because man's just gonna laugh at you. All those intellectual people, sensible people, they're just gonna look at you like you're a clown. You ain't no one, yo. You understand? You ain't got nothing next to your name, nothing to talk about worthwhile. Only thing you could talk about is how much drugs you got or re-up and all load of alien bollocks talk what ain't got nothing time to do with nothing. And most of the people stunting like they got this and that, they ain't even got nothing. They drive Porsche and live in council house or with their baby mother or some bag of upside down shit. Yeah. So what I'm saying to you is try and get a mark on how things really are and set it so that you can make a change for the future and for yourself. And if the younger you are, the more you need to do it, because you don't want to get a record if you haven't already got one. You understand?
But how can we believe that somebody that's made the money that you've made on road is now going to sit back and wait on a work or a book check?
Well, I'm doing it right now. I'm out here. I even got a penny in my pocket. I'm just dressed doing my promotional video. I left my house, come all the way over here. I didn't even have breakfast. I didn't even stop to get a Costa. I'm just doing what I have to do when I have to do it, and money's not my biggest priority because the money is going to come. I own a publishing company. I wrote a book. It will generate an income, and when it does, it will be a legal income, and I will also push some of that back towards people what need it the most. I'm actually about all of that now because I've done everything already myself, and money's not everything. It's important, but it's not every last thing. And when you've had it once, twice, 3 times, it becomes less important. You just know you have to build your thing correct so that you can make a future and make a stand and make a viewpoint and make something what people can believe in, hold on to and roll with. Because if I can do it, anybody can do it. You see it? And that's the fact.
It was the first time that you saw a gun and you thought that a gun was the right way forward?
Because I was a burglar, yeah, to start off with. Them things are about in country mansions and places like that, shotguns, whatever. And before 1996, when the gun laws changed, people had handguns in their house as well, so you could come across a gun. But at that stage, people weren't really shooting people. Guns were just used for robberies or specific things, and mostly people just had knives. So even if it was about, it wasn't really being used, and that would have been from, say, like 89. Yeah, from about 89.
Through the years before you ended up sitting in that jail cell, you've had many altercations with the feds regards the fact that you was known as a gunman. Tell us some of the worst things that happened to you with regards feds and them catching up on you to show the young youths this is what they got to deal with for the rest of their life once they get through that. Alright,
my last arrest in 2011 is on video and it's on my website, outoftheboxbook.org. And you look at that video and you see them armed police come out of nowhere, winging off man's face, dying to shoot man. That's what you're up against every day. And nowadays, with other things factored into it, terrorism, this, that and the other, the boy them's cranked up their thing high. It might not be directly for you, but you will get caught in a net and they will deal with you same way, like as if you're whoever they cranked it up for. That's how the system works. So you need to know what time it is.
So you being a man who's well known back in the day for knowing all about guns, you being a man who's had many altercations with gun police, what do you feel when you see documentaries like Gangland and you've got young boys talking about they always keep one in the clip for the feds? What does that do to you as someone who knows the game only too well?
To be honest, I'm not gonna slate no one or nothing, but 9 times out of 10, people that talk like that are not gunmen. And when it comes down to the crunch, they're not backing that for no police. They're gonna freeze up and they're gonna hold their arrests and go to prison if the police don't decide to kill them. Yeah, that's how it's gonna go. Yeah, anyone can talk shit on a television screen. Yeah, in real life it's a different scenario, and the person what produced Channel 5 documentary did it for him and his own white circle's agenda, not for them little people what he picked up, used and put back down. So more fool them, and the message is not a message because he hasn't got no narrative. He's just telling a story about a couple of kids selling drugs and wearing Louis Vuitton. Wowee. What is the narrative? What's the big picture? Do you understand? What are you telling people? And basically, that's the question everybody was asking. I felt embarrassed to see that people was getting hoodwinked like that by corporate mainstream guys, because he couldn't come to me with nothing like that.
So what do you think any police officer that carries a gun was thinking when they watched that documentary?
Yeah, more better for them, and more easier for them to shoot people, and more easier for them to justify dealing with street people like they're subhuman when they're not.
It's about you now as a person. Obviously you got the book out there, but what else are you doing to show the young youths that that road's a myth?
Well, right
and that
now,
there's no reason to be running around with a big gun?
Right now, I just started, but I've got a publishing company, belongs to me, and I'm going to be doing other projects with other people to write books and do other stuff. And once everything builds up to where it will build up, no doubt, I'm going to make it my duty to be able to start up some businesses for prisoners who have just come out of prison. Even if I could do 10 startups and other stuff along them lines. Legal aid for people what's doing life what ain't gonna get out, who ain't got legal aid no more. Things what really matter. And I will do that because I actually do want to give something to community. I'm not just saying this for a reason to benefit my own self. What a lot of people say, oh, the community, and they're not doing nothing for no community. They're doing it for themselves. That's it. It's just about themselves. They ain't got nothing to do with giving anyone anything. And that's the opposite of what I'm about.
So after living a road life and then living prison life, tell us, do you anyway suffer from paranoia of wondering if it's ever going to come back on you what you did when you was out there?
If I said to you that I don't think of these things, I'll be a liar. But what it is, when you're practical and you're a technician, when it comes to certain things, you should be able to stay on top of it by taking everyday precautions. But me, I'm a bit more than that, so I'd have CCTV, I'd have the guard dog and everything else what will lead to me feeling that peace of mind. And I don't really put myself about too much in circles what I don't need to be in no more, because that's not my circle. So basically, yeah, the more you do and the worse you used to live, the more these things will affect you.
It's about your connection with Anthony, somebody who done a documentary style interview with me last year, formerly known on the roads as Bucky.
You know, there's been many nights I've been in there, I've been in jail, I've looked out my window and think, you know what, when is this going to end? Like after being in jail like 5 years, you know you got 15, 20 years left, and you look out that window and the sun's shining and it's a nice day, early morning, you look at, you know, you're banged up, you know your family's out there, you know your girlfriend's out there, your children's out there, your mother's out there, and you think, when is it going to end? That's when you start regretting it. You might not regret it when you've done it, you might not regret it a year later, might be 5 years later, it might be straight away, but there's going to be a day when you're going to regret the action. But you have to take responsible for your actions. That's why think before you act. Trust me.
What's going on regards the path he's took? Are you interested in anything like that? He goes around the country dealing with colleges and schools, letting the youths know that the gun and the knife's wrong, and all it does is make you sit in a cell for the rest of your life.
They told me I couldn't do it. We go back to saying about rehabilitation and helping about prison. The prison system told me I couldn't do it. They told me that I couldn't be a youth engagement manager, I couldn't be a mentor because of my previous convictions or conviction. but I did it. See, I proved everyone wrong. You know why? Because I believed in myself. And I didn't believe in the streets. I believed in success. I believe I'm going to be more successful than I am now. Because I believed in myself. So I work for an organisation called Prison Me Nowhere. Well, basically I go into schools, colleges, university. I go all around the country and I do motivational talks. As well as that, I've wrote my own crime prevention program, what I deliver with various yachts around the country. And as I said before, and as I say again, I do youth work in Marcus Hilton Youth Club. So I'm just trying to put good input back into society with the knowledge of my previous.
Yeah, at the moment I'm in talks with certain charities, but I have to be careful to pick what is going to fit in with everything else what I plan to do. And because I've got my own publishing company, I've got to make that build up itself so that it can employ people and help people. So yeah, what he's doing is a great thing. I know him from donkey's years and the change in him is unbelievable, and I didn't believe these days would come when we'd be out here doing what we're doing, so it's a good thing.
So what about you yourself, just going into hoods, going into blocks, going into estates and just talking one-to-one with these young youths and showing them, listen, I've done everything you're doing and more, and I'm telling you at the other end is long. Police brutality, years of people looking over their shoulders, it's long.
If I ain't got my things set in a way where I can help man at the same time, literally, I wouldn't waste my breath. Because at the end of the day, you can't tell someone to put down something what's sustaining them and you ain't got another formula for them. And I respect that, because that's just life, we all have to live. So I'm gonna build up my situation, and when I do start coming to talk to people, it will be on a situation where X, Y, Z, but this is there for you, so you've really got a choice and a chance to jump from one ship to the other. That's my philosophy to the situation.
Some of the worst things that you see sitting in prison, people getting bent up, people trying to test you, all of it, to let the young youths know when you're sitting in that cage there ain't nowhere to run.
There ain't. I've seen man get hot oil poured over his face, poured on his head, a screw get oil poured over him, and he just squealed out. This squeal was like not even a pig could squeal so loud. Yeah? And that's just raw pain. All his skin's just dripping off of him from the oil. People getting stabbed up. Yeah? Every day, anything can happen at any given time. Words cannot explain that place, and you're not entitled to come out of it alive. If you come out of it alive, that's a bonus, because you can die in there easy. People die in there. People do die in there, and the people who are in there are calculated, so they will eat with you. One guy ate with another guy for 18 months while his co-defendant was in another jail, till his co-defendant came to the jail what he was in, and both of them stabbed the guy up, proceeded to stab the guy up. 18 months he sat on the guy for, eating with the guy. This is the kind of place I'm telling you about. You do not want to go there. You just don't want to go there. And if you go remand for a couple months and you feel like that's made you the man, or you can manage that, you go and get yourself a life sentence or anything more than a 10, and the ball game changes completely, brother. You be going dispersal, high security prison with a different set of rules and conduct and a different set of man them in there who you are going to take talk from, no matter who you are or where you come from. Yeah? And if you're not on what they're on, you will become on what they're on after they plunge you up a couple times and dash some hot water over your head. Yeah? That's how the place runs. Yeah? And you will submit, or you will not make it out of there alive. That's how it is. And the government ain't going to help you. You're on your own.
What is it like once you hit dispersal in jail?
Brother, listen to me. It's a dead man place. From when you touch that circuit and you're not in the right links, in the right circle, under the right banner, you got issues. And if you come there on some gangbang background, there'll be man there what you've been in beef with, who's court cases, who've got people in there before you. So straight away is a whole new arena with a whole new set of rules, and you've got a 35 up your arse. That is not a good combination, brother. Yeah, every day you got to be on top of your job, be ready to be stabbing up people, or someone be stabbing up you, pouring hot oil over you and doing one bag of nastiness to you. Yeah, I know people have had hot oil poured right over their head and their skin fried. Yeah, when the next time I saw them, I couldn't even look at them the way their skin was bubbling up. Yeah, and that's real life in real time. Man's pushing up knife right up in your ribs. Yeah, if you're dead, you're dead. And the man what's gonna do it will not get another charge because he's done doing 40 years already. This is reality. Yeah, that place is bigger than any man. No man is tougher than them bars. If you think you're tougher than them, you're a fool.
Anybody tried to test you while you was in there due to the fact that your name was ringing out here?
In there, people watch your conduct. So I've had enemies, I've also had lots and lots of friends. And if you've got both, 9 times out of 10, you'll be alright. But anyone can come unstuck in there. So I've had altercations in there, yeah. But cold water will get thrown on it easier if you're beknown. But if you're not, and you've just come in the system like now, it can go completely wrong for you real fast.
So be real with us and give the young youth something to know. Listen, this is you one day if you don't start wising up. Did you ever see anybody whose name was ringing on roads who thought there's a bad man who went in jail and they weren't a bad man no more?
I'm not here to slag no one off, innit? I know right from wrong and I know truth. So I don't really watch face or people. I'm not gonna go down the road of slagging down anyone. But I have seen loads of so-called bad men from every ends, yeah, every ends, go to prison and get air out. One guy, double murder, got a 40 or something, big figures, gunman, come to full Sutton, playing Movado about enemies this and enemies that. 2 weeks later, it's a T-strainer they turn that into. That's in the block with bare stab wounds all through his neck, all about. And that's rearranging his life. That's been moved to another prison now. That took Shada, that turned real humble and find God. Yeah? That's what can reach you. Yeah? So know yourself.
Elaborate on the bit in the book where you were saying about somebody who was singing too loud and it upset someone.
Yeah, I remember that. And most of the people involved in that scenario are dead, so I could be even more clearer, but there's not even no need. Basically, as I said in the book, a guy doing 5 years used to sing a lot, and some gangsters took offence, cockneys, and they were the in guys at the time, and one of them was put a contract on the guy over singing too much, and the person what went to go and do it wanted to impress everybody so much that he cut the guy's wrist and his throat and killed him. That's real time, and it did happen. These are the kind of things what can reach you in there, because in there you ain't no one again.
So let us get it straight, he was just in his cell singing too loud and somebody didn't like that, so he ended up dead.
That's correct. That's the long and short of it, yeah.
And that's what these young youths can see if they think they're going to be bad enough to go in there and test someone.
Yeah, well, you could be in there and you could be on the winning side for a little while, or you might be a brother or someone who knows everybody, so everything's nice for you. But if you're doing life, eventually you will get unstuck if you're going down that gladiator road, because gladiators and warriors, they get unstuck, they fight to the death, and then they get unstuck. And that's what makes them gladiators and warriors, because when they get stabbed, they jump up and pull the knife out and stab back. Yeah, that's what makes them special. You don't want to get into that arena because it's abnormal. It's not what you need in your life. If you've got one life to live here on earth, yeah, hereafter, everything else, fair enough. But right now, as it stands, you've got this little piece of life to make the most before your family, yourself and God. It's up and down every day what comes, because it's a real traumatic experience and people take things in different ways. So some family won't want to talk to you, some will just hate you, some might like you. It's just really a melting pot of emotions.
So would you like to let us know what it was like being Leroy Smith's grandma?
Oh, well, I'm happy to have him, the grandson, because human being You can't buy them. And I lost my daughter, which is his mom, and then it so happened now that she did have this boy, and then I have this boy could help to encourage me and to be strong. Because his mother made terrible death, but she leave a child, and I have him now to grow and fill the place. Though he couldn't run like she can, it was gone, but still yet. And I grew him up. And I'm only very sorry to see that things have to go like that in his life. Because it's a very bad thing when your character blighted. But what can I do? And I really...
What was it like for you when he was arrested? Like, what was the police like with you regards to the situation?
When they arrested him?
Yeah, and what was you feeling when you found out that he'd been arrested for shooting the 2 police?
I could only bawl. I was in here bawling and said, Lord Jesus, I won't have to leave, I don't want to, and things like that, till we find out that he was gone.
But what impact has it had on you through the years, not having him there to help you out?
But you know what?
Impact, like what's the impact been on your life knowing that he hasn't been there to do things with you?
Well, it was a terrible time of my life, because I couldn't change nothing, and I still was a young person to that, and it was terrible for me, because when I know his mom had gone, and afterward, you know, in the situation with him again, I nearly passed away, man, believe me. But the Almighty God hold me back, said, no, I will help you. And I say, he helped me until now. I am over 90 now. And I can be here to see my life, you know, so God is wonderful.
And what do you feel now about the fact that he's changed his life around,
Oh, God.
and that he's written a book and he's trying to help the young
yes,
youth?
Sure, I'm so happy for him, because my prayers don't go waste. I pray to God all in tears, all in my bed for him. When I see the situation of what things happening to him, and I can see that God answers my prayer, because he come there, he can write on a book, and he's thinking a different way. I said, thank you, my God. Because I'm more old, I couldn't take no more of anything with him, you know. It's too much. I couldn't live it all this time. So I just said, thank you, Lord.
So tell us about rebuilding family after sitting in that jail cell for so long. How did you rebuild with your daughter and your dad?
My daughter is up and down up to this day. Some members of my family, we're not even talking up till this day. Me and my own dad don't communicate at all. This is what happens when you go into them places. My family scenario is in shambles, and it might take me forever, if never, to fix. This is what happens.
Sorry for the way your daughter saw you.
Yeah, I'm sorry for the way she saw me, other family members, and society as a whole.
So what would you do now if your daughter came to you and told you that she was with a roadman who's just as bad as you was, or even worse? What would your attitude to that be?
I'll give her an ultimatum. She wouldn't anyway, but I'll give her an ultimatum to pick, because I wouldn't want that for her.
How did you enhance yourself to get out of prison?
Basically, I went to the wire. I done all of my sentences, double Cat A and then single Cat A. That means it's the highest security code in a dispersal where it's all popping 24/7s, and I was kicked out, walked to the gate with our station dogs grudgingly. The first time, and then the second time they even made police handcuff me and bring me from prison to the hostel. That's how much they didn't really want to let me out.
So tell us the difference between the world you left behind and the world that you came into.
Different
How did
world.
you find the adapting to the new world?
Different world. When I came out in 2011, it was like bendy buses, Oyster card, Tesco's with machines what talk to you. It was enough to blow someone's mind. It was just surreal. And that first 9 months was just virtual reality. Sometimes I had to touch my car steering wheel to make sure it's actually I was here. I didn't even believe it. But now, after coming out the second time and being out for over 2 years, it's slowly kicking in how you need to conduct yourself and how you need to be out here, and I still have bad days, but in general I'm doing well.
Let's talk about the people that are still in there, that are never going to be coming out because of the fact their name was ringing on road or they was running around with a gun. Let these youths know that you could be staying in there the rest of your life once you start rolling down that road.
Yeah, you know what, it's emotional because some of these guys are like my brothers and I've got enough love for them, and to know that I can't free them hurts. But yeah, guys from every postcode, don't need to drop names, but every postcode who's top man or relevant get the 35s and the 40s, and that's the end of their dance. And man's just in there, the most they got to look forward to is to cook some food and try and get closer to God, because there's nothing left in there. Every day is politics and negativity, on top of the fact that you're doing bird, and on top of the fact that you're not going to see your family or live any kind of normal life again.
So can you tell your daughter anything after her losing 17 and a half years with you?
I couldn't, and she weren't listening to nothing what I had to say, and she had an argument for everything. And because of her having the moral high ground, because I went to jail, there's not much you can say about certain things when you haven't got the moral high ground. But now that I'm an author, she can look at me and feel proud and know that I am what I say I am, and that's leading to help to mend all of the broken pieces. I'm lucky. I got 25 and I'm lucky. I shot 2 police and I'm free. I'm walking road. So I'm not the average what happens. Because if you do that what I did now, you're not seeing road. Full stop. You're never going to see road again. And if you get a life, that's even worse than a 25, because life means that the Queen, the government own you now. They've got you for 99 years and can let you out at their discretion and put you back inside at their will or discretion. So you ain't got no more talk left. You belong to the state, and that is the facts. And then you have to rearrange to fit into their thing, or you're never seeing road again. So you're gonna have to kiss ass in some form or fashion. And enough man doing life back in the day used to be referred to in that kind of derogatory way, but now I understand it. You got to bend into their shape if you ever want to go road. Either you do or you don't, and that's the reality. Is harsh realities, very harsh realities, and you can laugh it off, play it off because you're at large at the moment, but when it comes down to it, it's going to be you and that cell, bruv. You and that cell. So I hope that the cell ain't bigger than you, or you're going to have issues, because no one ain't tougher than them bars. Cast iron, they will outlive you and your father and your son and your son's son, yeah, and every other generation to come, until Babylon decides that they don't want to put people in that one no more, and then they build another one and another one. There will always be a cell there for you. That's how their system works. If they don't give you that illusion and that understanding that there's always a soul for you, then their system falls to pieces. So they will make sure there is always a soul there for you. And because you're probably going to be a black person or someone underprivileged, you're going to go in there with no redress, no one to help you, no tight legal team, and they're just going to sink you like it's for fun.
So what did your daughter think of you when you was a gunman?
To be honest, I wasn't even around there very much, but by what she wrote, not very much. Because a little girl has got fantasies of her dad being a good person or a hero or some kind of strong, good man, not a monster.